Tour Junkies.
Greetings, folks. Welcome to the Tour Junkies show, the one that still does not have a name. Now, I think we're close. Tony, but we are not quite there yet. But I believe by the next episode we're going to have it locked in. But we do not have a name yet. But welcome to the show. Sponsored by Bet the Number. Bet the Number is the place to go if you want stats, whatever, course history, form. You need anything to do with helping you out with your bets or your DFS and making good calls. Go to Bet the Number. Check the link in the description and sign up. If you use the code TJ, by the way, you get a great deal. I think I can't even remember what the deal is, but it's a great deal. It's a great deal. And I believe it's maybe $50 off annually, and I think $5 off the monthly subscription. So let's get to some topics today. Bringing in Tony. Tony, how are you doing?
Pat, I am good. Yeah, no DB today. DB is off celebrating his 40th birthday with a long weekend ski trip. Just seems like
he's off to Tahoe. DB's birthday has lasted forever.
I was just going to say that. For as much as he said he's bummed out about turning 40 and all that, he's really stretching this out.
He is stretching it out big time. His wife's birthday is, I believe, tomorrow. So, I mean, I'm just wondering, is there a little battle going on between the two of them? Is he's saying this is his 40th birthday trip, but, is she saying this is her trip? Now, I'm not saying she's 40. I'm sure she's like 35 or something, but, actually I do know her real age, but, there could be a little battle going on who gets to do what for the birthday. But I think they're going to have fun out. Lake Tyler is awesome. Heavenly Mountain, by the way, is where I've skied out there. So we're going to have to do this without DB, and I think we can do it, Tony. I think we can do it. Do you feel good? Do you feel good about this?
Yeah, I got a couple takes fired up. I'm going to cue some stuff up for you here, Pat. A little more specifically designed for you, as you can see the Tom Kite topic that we have there. That's specifically there for you. I don't know if we would have been able to slip that one in with DB
Probably not
at the helm, but yeah, we'll get right into it. So this week, Pat, we've got Brandel Chamblee, Brandy Chambliss, hopping into the seat. At the American Express. He's going to be in the anchor seat all 4 days. I just want to get your thoughts on that, man. Brandel, especially over the last few years with Liv, has become a very, as Phil said last week, divisive character. Divisive character in the golf world, just with everything that he's had to say. So, what are your thoughts? What do you think about him hopping in the anchor or the analyst chair for the American Express?
I mean, we see enough of Brandel already on the Golf Channel, probably more than people want to know. But I actually maybe go a different way than some. I don't mind him in that kind of analyst role when you're going to watch like live from. You always feel like you're at a big tournament when he's there. He's at the booth, and but it will be more interesting to hear him as an analyst in the booth. Now, he's done that before. It's not anything new for him, but he is certainly polarizing. I wonder if do you think he has escorts when he goes out to the booth? Like, are they going to is he going to be like a college football coach that has police escorts? Because, a lot of people hate Brandel. He might have to worry about his safety. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But to me, Brandel does have, you like it or not, he does have takes. And people listen to those takes, whether or not they hate him, love him, whatever. More people seem to hate him. But I do think it'll be interesting to have him in the booth. And, as long as he's just not too annoying.
I think it's interesting. I know Kiz was a couple weeks ago now, but to go from having Kiz in the booth at the Century and kind of just, obviously Kiz has been on tour for a long time. He can give you that insight, what it is. Him talking about, okay, Jordan, it's 3 feet. Just knock this putt in, buddy. Let's go. That clip that was kind of going around. To go from that to now Brandel where like, is Brandel going to say stuff like that? Or is he going to be the Golf Central Brandel of, 37 letter words and all this kind of stuff? And, will a conversation devolve into live at all? That's kind of the aspect that I'm, interested to see, just where exactly the entire conversation goes for the 3-4 hours that Golf Channel's on per broadcast. Or is it just going to be, hey, we're focused on golf shots?
I think Brandel is very much all about Brandel. I think Brandel, it will be just like Golf Channel Brandel, and I think that he, the thing that is the worst about him is that he just seems to make a lot of things about him.
Yeah.
Like it's not, and that's what I'll be interested to see. Like, are we going to get a bunch of sound clips that are probably going to go blow up on Twitter and golf Twitter if it's just him, try to steal the show of the broadcast, which is not what you want. That's what the best thing about having Kiz in the booth is that you have a guy that's not far removed from tour, or really not even removed from tour. I mean, he's still, a tour player. And so he's got those, I like the fact that he's got that connection with the tour, that's not so far off like Brandel does. And the problem with Brandel too is he just can't embrace some of the change that's going on in golf. And so maybe this stage will be a time where we get to see, has Brandel started to, move a little more comfortable with live. I think he's always going to have his hatred of that. I mean, you still see that on Twitter. But I do wonder if we'll get a little bit more, because you've seen this, right? We've talked about this the last few shows. These people are starting to get more comfortable with live, starting to understand it more. You've got the comments we talked about last week on the show that Rory had. You had Phil Mickelson on the McAfee show and them talking about that and, being happy that Rory was coming around, and other players we've heard coming around. Will Brandel come around in some way? He's always going to, be so, anti-Saudi and all that kind of stuff. That's, I don't think, going to change. But will he give us a window into maybe the fact that he's, sees some value in what's going on with live?
It'll be interesting to see, I think, whether good or bad people are going to be tuning in the golf world. And that's exactly what the Golf Channel wants. So would you like to see him as the long-term option?
Absolutely not. 100% not.
Let's say you tune in this week and you actually enjoy it. Well, is that just, you just don't want him long-term? You'd like to have a Faxon, a Duvall, somebody else as opposed to Brandel?
Yeah, I think we need somebody, again, I don't think, who knows what's going to happen with Kiz long-term, but I think it needs to be something more along that lines than it does, with Brandel. Brandel's been on TV for so long.
Yeah.
So it's time to get some new blood in there. He is certainly not new blood. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right, Pat, moving on to the next topic I got here. I got a couple of videos I'll play for you. There's a new trend going around with, I don't know if it's just these dummies looking for clout, whatever it is on social media, but destroying greens, missing a putt, doing it for the gram, friends, blocking a putt or something like that to win a match, whatever it is. So I'll play these couple for you, and then I want to get your thoughts on what we need to do with these dummies.
Okay.
I had to make this putt for $500.
Birdie putt. Dude. What the fuck?
I'll leave the floor open to you, Pat. I don't understand this. I don't really get it at all. So my question to you with that, obviously these guys are dummies. Like I said, they're just looking to get Instagram famous, YouTube famous, whatever it is. But I'll leave it up. What should we do to people like this? I think there's a quote or there's a term going out there of just jail. How many years in jail? What should we do with these type of people when you see a video like this?
Well, I mean, first off, me, Tony. I mean, I'm rather old school when it comes to golf. I'm not a fan of the untucked shirts on the golf course and all that stuff. Now, I love music. I mean, and there's some new things that I like, but I do think you got to show up with some decorum on a golf course. Mm-hmm. So this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I think it's awful. I think the people that will, look at this, they'll say, oh, well, and they'll probably take this angle. They'll be like, oh, well, this is what Liv is doing. They're bringing in these type people into the game, right? Because it's all wild and it's crazy. Or the waste management, where DB and I'll be in a couple weeks. Like that kind of, those are the kind of people that are causing this. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's stupid, just people looking for attention.
Yeah.
But it is terrible. And here's what I think you should do. Okay, jail's fine. We can do jail. What they ought to do is make these kids get up at 4 a.m. for I don't know how long, a year maybe, and go work with those superintendents who have to get up that early and have to get those greens prepared, get that course prepared for the day, and make them do that, make them cut that grass, That's where you gain a little more appreciation for what's happening, for what these people are doing, in the superintendents and all the people that work on golf courses, that have to just be beside themselves when they see this. Make those kids do that and gain a little more appreciation for what's going on that golf course and what allows them to play, this great game.
And that's the thing. I'm sure they know that what they're doing is affecting other people and all that. They just don't care. But the fact that you're doing that to someone else's property, to someone else who has to go out there and put in the time, put in the effort, like you said, early morning hours and all that, and then you're just going to go. I think they should let the greenskeeper take however many swings that they took on the green at the person
right on the shin, like
right,
when you
right
get a
on
putter to the shin,
knee, ankle bone, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe putter to the ankle bone, because
that's a bad one.
Around.
Yeah, that one is debilitating when that happens to you. I mean, it's worse than stepping on a Lego. I mean, it's terrible. But yeah, it's just not good. It's now, I'm trying to think if I've ever just in anger. I know I've slammed clubs. I mean, DB probably, he'll watch this and he'll be like, "Oh, I've seen Pat slam a club and somehow broke it." But I've never done that to a green. I know that. Now I have seen it happen, and I've seen it happen kind of by accident. They tried to kind of slam their foot and they actually hit the green or something like that. But obviously, this is very purposeful what they're doing. So not a fan, and we need to do something about it.
All right, Pat. Next one. Like I said, just for you here. Had a funny gaffe earlier in the week with some of the odds for the American Express. As you can see on the graphic there, we had Scotty Scheffler, Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, Sung J M, Justin Thomas, and Tom Kite coming into the American Express this week at 25-1 odds. I like that. So I just I wanted to throw this up for you. If you have any Tom Kite stories, your affinity for Tom Kite, watching them, anything like that growing up. Again, this is one of those things. I don't understand how this happens. Not only is it the wrong name, but you even have the graphic there. You've got the American flag behind
it. That's the funniest part to me, is they actually put. Now, I think somebody had to have either done this on purpose, or it's just the most ridiculous gaffe ever. And obviously, it's supposed to be Tom Kim, who was about 25-1. And you know what? This tournament has just started today. And these players are going really low, as they typically do this week at the American Express. And I think Tom Kite could probably, he wouldn't be 25-1, but he'd probably be a few under right now looking at these scores. But I was always kind of a Tom Kite fan. I love big glasses and, he was short in stature, but he was one of those guys, we talk about players now that, the best players that haven't won a major. That was always the case with Tom Kite until he finally won the U.S. Open, which was actually at Pebble Beach. And I think he won fairly easily, or it just never, when I remember it, it didn't seem like it was much of a contest. But Kite was, he was one of a kind. I haven't seen him in years. Like, I don't even know what he does. He just kind of, when he just faded away out of the golf world. A lot of these guys tend to stay around. He didn't play a lot of senior golf, I don't think. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But it is funny. And, good for Tom Kite. He's back in the in the world of people talking about him. So
I mean, he's that classic, just 80s golfer that I think of, like you said, with the glasses. And then he had one of the most funniest pictures. I'll bring it up here of him using some kind of exercise machine in his underwear with the little belt thing that's supposed to jiggle your fat away. Just absolutely an all-time 80s picture there. That's as a guy who's a little bit younger, didn't really catch much of the Tom Kite heyday or anything like that. That's the first thing that pops up for me.
Yeah, no, I forgot about that picture. That's great. Tom Kite was obviously very comfortable in his own skin. It's like DB and I like to have these little bets here and there. I lost a spam bet last week on the show. I feel like Tom Kite would be all about doing some betting, as far as, like he wouldn't care. If he had to go run naked and play golf on a golf course, he'd probably wear that or something and do it. He'd be fine with it. So.
I feel like there were more characters back then too. Like who from in the 80s, 90s golf era, or when you were growing up watching golf, getting into the game, who would you think would kind of thrive in today's world with social media, the marketing of yourself, all of that kind of stuff? Most of the people, most of the golfers nowadays, there's not a whole lot of personality. Even somebody like Tiger, who changed the golf world, we never got to see a lot of that personality. But back then, I mean, you had just a picture like that of Tom Kite. I mean, you get guys like Chichi Rodriguez, Lee Trevino, even going back a little bit more, obviously John Daly.
Yeah.
Those kind of just characters. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of those nowadays on tour.
No, there's not. I mean, Chi-Chi's a great, I mean, when you look at, those guys, when they, a lot of them I kind of know more of when they came onto the senior tour, and when that, those were just characters. My dad, kind of funny story, worked on a senior tour event that was in Augusta. And I remember going out there and meeting a lot of those players, and it was like Bruce Crampton and all these these guys that were so hilarious, so much fun to be around, and it was way more laid back. And actually, that's what you see on the senior tour now, really, is those guys that were back then had way more character than what I'm seeing out there on the tour today. But guys like a Blaine McAllister or something, or who was the guy that wore the crazy shirts, the flower? Oh God, is it Duffy Waldorf? Duffy Waldorf,
yeah,
he'd be one of them. Bill Glasson. The guy that had the blonde, I think he had the light blonde hair. He'd be one. Of course, Freddie Couples. I think Freddie Couples would thrive today in today's environment. But I was, Freddie Couples, man, just my favorite of all time. Yeah. Still my favorite of all time.
Little Jasper Parnevik with the hat.
Oh, Jasper. Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah. God, he was great.
All right, Pat, moving on. Are you much of an equipment guy?
I used to not be. Like, I think I got a set of clubs when I was right out of college, and they lasted till I was 30, and then I got a set at 30, and then I think I played the same clubs till I was 40, and I got a new set then. Ever since we've kind of been doing Tour Junkies, I definitely have become more of an equipment guy. We went down to the PGA show every year for about 3 or 4 years. Really before COVID in 2020. So about the first 4 years of Tour Junkies, we were down at the PGA show, which is actually going on next week. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these equipment things starting to come out. And that, with Tour Junkies and all of that, I became a little bit more of an equipment guy and had kind of have more of the latest stuff than I used to. The thing I don't like about it, and I know like we were going to talk about the TaylorMade driver. They were just coming out with the new TaylorMade. They come out with way too many.
Yeah.
Like I just actually ordered the TaylorMade from last year, and it hasn't even come in yet. And then I knew they were going to announce another one, but they do it too. Like, I think they need to spread it out a little more. Like, let my driver that I just got be the new driver for 2 years instead of 1 year. I feel like it comes out a little too much. And I always wonder too, like this new TaylorMade, the QI10. I mean, they even explained to it like what the name comes from and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, like, is it really like that different than the year before, or is a lot of it just marketing, right? With TaylorMade, is it just marketing, or is it really, a whole lot of difference? So
I think that was the big thing. And on the QI10, they've got the twist face. And
yeah,
when that came out a couple years ago, it seemed like a lot of people in the golf world kind of just said, well, this is pretty dumb. This is
yeah,
just a marketing ploy to buy more drivers. I'm with you that maybe this is old man yells at clouds and whatnot, but yeah, go two. I feel like you would sell more. Maybe you go 3 years between releasing drivers, releasing iron sets, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've tried to get into. I'm not good enough to like really be that into equipment and all that kind of stuff
yeah.
with my golf game. But there is just so much information, so much stuff to learn if you're just trying to get into it. So it's hard sometimes just to know where to start with it. But
Yeah, and it seems like the main thing people always want to see that's coming out is the driver, right?
Mhm.
I mean, the new drivers, and probably the new golf balls,
Yeah.
which will become bigger with this whole rollback thing. The golf ball announcements will be a lot more interesting. Um, I personally think where you get the most bang for your buck with new clubs, or if you want to like having, you want to get the latest thing, it's wedges. I mean, wedges to me are the ones that really make the most difference as far as your game. Now, of course, we all know, right, Tony, that I'm in the top 1,000 in the world with the bump and run. I feel like I got a decent short game. So obviously the wedges are one of my favorite clubs in the bag. But Titleist has got this new AVX golf ball, which is they're not coming out with a new Pro V1 or Pro
Yeah.
V1X. They're coming out with this AVX, which I play the AVX, so I'm a little interested to see how that ball looks. But yeah, that's going to be the one that's the most interesting going forward. Is what's the golf ball going to look like, especially if they got to start to conform to these new rules that are coming out with the USGA and the RNA.
Yeah, I feel like you're gonna have your junkies in the parking lots of your local course or whatever. Like, hey, I got those old Pro V1s and
Yeah,
trying to pedal some of those to get your 3 to 5 yards back on your drives.
yeah, 100%.
But all right, Pat, we'll wrap it up with a little Happy Gilmore swing, and then I got a couple questions for you. I got another video to play here for you, and then I want to ask you 2 questions about it. So first thing, have you ever tried the Happy Gilmore swing?
I have.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as difficult as most people maybe make it out to be, to make contact. Now,
Yeah.
not to like actually like just hit the crap out of it. So yes, I have done it. So
I feel like most golfers have. Anyone who's
Yeah.
picked up a golf club has had to try that. And then second one I got for you is classic question in the golf world. Happy Gilmore or Caddyshack?
Oh, Caddyshack for me.
Yeah.
Caddyshack. I love it. I love it.
I'm happy.
By the way,
Gilmore
rest
all the way.
in peace to what's the what's her name in Caddyshack?
Oh yeah.
She passed away recently.
Yeah, I did see that.
Lacey
Mhm.
Underalls. So I'm a big Caddyshack fan, but I do like some Happy Gilmore. Which let me ask you this, okay? First off, the guy was obviously a little tipsy when he tried this. I'm surprised he wasn't hurt more because it looks like, I mean, he just face planted. But the other thing, if you listen back on that video, did you notice the song that was being played?
Wham. Yeah.
Yes. Wham? These guys are listening to Wham on the golf course? Like, I don't get that now. All right. They don't look like Wham guys to me.
Well, what's your golf course music then? What do you like when you go out there and play?
Man, it's
Oh, Powder P.
yeah, a little Powder P, little Bone Thugs. No, I like a lot of different type of music. DB has a good playlist when we're in our member guests. It has a lot of different, whether it's Morgan Wallen all the way to
Mhm.
the rap people that I don't know what their names are that I still like the songs. So I kind of tend to stick though to look, DB hates this because he doesn't know who they are really, I don't think, but I'm a big Widespread Panic fan. So, I listen to that kind of music out there. Widespread is a little more like what would you call it? It's just kind of just easy going, kind of smoking weed music, really. So I guess you could call it like Grateful Dead back in the day, that kind of stuff. I like a little bit of that on the course, but I'll go all over the place. Really, I probably stay more along the lines of country music and that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I feel like as long as you're just out there with some music, having a good time, it's just, you know, being respectful of that kind of stuff, then yeah, you can kind of listen to whatever you want.
These days, I don't like it if I forget my little speaker for my Bluetooth speaker for music. I'd love to have music out there for sure.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Pat, why don't you wrap it up for us then?
Yeah. All right. That is the show. We appreciate it. Again, I think we are going to have a name next week. Thanks, Tony, for all the great topics today. DB will be back next week as well. We get to hear about Tahoe. We'll see. I really hope that the DB stays healthy out in Tahoe. I mean, skiing is tough. It's tough on your knees. He's 40 now. He's getting older. So let's just hope that all his parts come back and are together when he comes back for the show next week. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. The Farmers is next week. I think we got a few special things on the Tour Junkies betting and DFS shows, which will be next Monday. So as always, join us for those. Thank you, Tony. We'll see you next week. Out.
See ya.